Look, I know this isn't a topic that I normally get into, and I don't intend to do this anymore. I don't intend to do this regularly, but I just I need to take a second to express the stupidity of a recent decision that came down in my state. So, for those of you who aren't tracking or are new here, I'm a United States Army veteran. For those asking for proof, I wasn't fucking bullshitting. This is my VA ID. This is my VA identification. They don't give those to fucking. They don't give those to fakes. That card basically says that I'm 80% service connected disabled. Okay. So anyway, a decision recently came down in my state, basically refusing to grant legal injunction to a legal injunction to a law that came down banning these standard capacity magazines, 30 rounds. This is standard. So this is not currently legal in my state. I only have these because they're grandfathered in from when I was gearing up for deployment. This is what's currently legal in my state. This is a 10-round magazine. This is what would technically be called reduced capacity. They want to call it standard capacity. This is reduced capacity. Standard capacity that they want to call they want to call a high capacity magazine. Sorry, I spaced out on words there for a second. They want to call this high capacity. This is standard. Reduced, standard. Reduced, standard. So why was the injunction why was this law passed? So obviously this law is passed, and why was this injunction supposed to be such a big deal? Because there's zero reason we should not be able to have these. Okay? So an injunction was filed against the law that was passed a couple years ago now. Basically banning these. The injunction states that ban was unconstitutional, and what the state of Washington argued, what the state of Washington argued was actually a perfect mirror to the same case that went down in California, which also recently got a decision, but that one got the correct decision because these are protected by the Second Amendment. If you aren't following, you're about to. Reason being, we all understand the language of the Second Amendment has stated that these are protected by the Second Amendment, yeah? Well, these are fucking useless without these, okay? And unfortunately, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, you need a system to get this into this reliably. That's where this comes in. And you're probably saying, but that doesn't make sense. Why is this important? Well, here's the thing. This is the same thing as this. And so you need a way to get rounds into this. And this one has a magazine safety, so even if I dropped the fucking slide and chambered around and started pulling the trigger, nothing would happen until I stuck the magazine back into the firearm. Because you need a way to get this into this that allows this to actually fire this, hence you need this. So, same principle applies across. You need these. These work as well, but usually you use them if you have a reason to be loading less than 10 rounds at a time. So what the state of California attempted to argue, and what the state of Washington successfully argued, is that this is so fucking stupid, is that this is not protected by the Second Amendment because you do not directly pull the trigger with it. They're basically trying to argue that this is not protected because It is not this. Even as the Supreme Court has previously stated that this is protected just the same as this, because the right to own and utilize this is moot without this. Well, this established a precedent that a lot of people who don't understand what the hell's going on want to ignore. Because the story is, now, the precedent is that the Second Amendment does not just protect fucking firearms, it also protects ammunition. And the language they used on that was a lot more inclusive than just explicitly enumerating ammunition. They basically said the Second Amendment protects ancillary components, which now includes our optics and our magazines and all that other happy crap, right? So, what the state of Washington has decided, I fucking hate this state at times. The state of Washington has decided that there needs to be a complete historical reanalysis of the Second Amendment to prove that this is equally as worthy of protection as this, which has already been established to be equally worthy of protection as this. Make that shit make sense.